Today we will be learning about capacity, which is the amount something can hold. When water is dealt with, it's very hard to measure it, as you can't just set it on a plate or a scale, since it just spreads out. This happens because water adapts to the shape of any container it's in. For example, if I pour water into a plastic bottle, it takes the form of the bottle. Or if I pour water into a small container, it assumes the shape of that small container. At times, we need to measure liquids like oil, butter, water, or cream. I'm sure when you baked a cake, you probably noticed people using measuring cups and maybe a measuring jug. We prefer these tools because you can't weigh liquids on a scale, they will just run off. We typically measure liquids in litres, but for cooking, it's usually in milliliters as it requires small amounts of measurements. Here are some examples of how capacity is used in real life situations. Starting off with water intake. People need to know how many litres of water they are drinking a day. This could mean knowing how many milliliters of water your drink bottle can hold. Cooking utensils such as tablespoons, measuring cups, and jugs. Make sure the correct amount of liquid is being used. Now, I'm pretty sure none of you drive a car, but maybe you have seen your parents fill up a car. Well, guess what? Even the petrol tank involves capacity, as it has to be filled up to how much petrol it can hold. Fish tanks and pools involve capacity as well. However, they use litres as it is a very large amount of liquid, and using milliliters could get too confusing. For example, it's a lot simpler saying the pool's capacity is 36 litres rather than 3,600 milliliters. Some key vocabulary through this topic can include estimate, which is roughly guessing a number, in this case milliliters, and it can also be a calculation based on existing knowledge. Next is compare, which is looking at what is the same and what is different between two things. Measure is to measure how much something can hold before it becomes full, in this case. Capacity is the amount something can hold. We can use capacity to describe when something is full, half full, and empty. Litres is a type of metric unit primarily used for measuring liquids. So litres are more used for big bottles of milk, measuring fish tanks, and etc. Milliliters, on the other hand, are also a metric unit, but they are used for smaller capacities such as cooking oil or 500 milliliters of shampoo.
Now, to continue on from the first video where we showed you how to measure a capacity, we're now going to be showing you how that capacity may look in different glasses.
So as you can see, there's 3 different types of glasses, but they each have 300 milliliters in. And as you can see, this one has a bit more as it's completely cylinder. This one has a tiny bit less because as you can see, it goes down like that, like as a deviant. And this one has even less because even though it looks the same, it scoops up in a narrow thing, creating less capacity for inside the cup. What's the difference between measuring and estimating? Well, measuring means using special tools to find out exactly how much liquid something can hold. For example, if you're using a measuring cup, you can see that it holds 1 cup of water, or to be precise, 50 milliliters of water. Measuring gives you a precise answer, like counting how many candies you have in a jar. It's exact. Estimating, on the other hand, is more like making a smart guess. When you estimate, you don't use tools to find out the exact amount. Instead, you think about how much you believe it might be. For example, if you see a big bowl and guess it might hold about 2 cups of water, that's estimating. It's not a perfect answer, but it helps you understand how much it can hold without counting every drop. When estimating capacity, there are many considerations. The first one is height. So the taller the container, the more capacity it will hold. And the shorter the container, the less capacity it will hold. Second is the width. So the wider the container, the more capacity it can hold. Whereas if it's smaller and more narrow, that means there's going to be less capacity that it can hold. Another consideration is if the container has any concaves or convexes. Concaves mean there will be less capacity as it curves inwards, whereas convex means the capacity will increase as it goes out like that.